What is the most extravagant gift you can imagine? Maybe it's a luxury car or a tropical vacation. Hi everyone, Ken here. Welcome to This House. Today we are unwrapping the history of the most opulent gift, the marble house. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House. William Vanderbilt wanted to surprise his wife, Alva, with a birthday present she would never forget. So in 1888, he met with architect Richard Morris Hunt to begin planning a surprise vacation home for her. Quickly, however, Alva became involved in the planning of the house. They purchased a lot over 4 acres large in Newport, Rhode Island to begin construction. Alva became obsessed with keeping the house a secret so that she could unveil it in a grand party. She had a large fence constructed, blocking the view from the road, and hired only Chinese workers who did not speak English. Her reasoning for this was that they would not be able to tell anyone about the project they were working on, because not many people spoke Mandarin in Newport at this time. Overall, the house cost a whopping $11 million to build, or the modern-day equivalent of about $343 million, with nearly 1/5 of the budget being devoted solely to marble, hence the name it would receive, the Marble House. 4 years after construction had started, the 50-room Beaux-Arts-style mansion was finished. Alva threw a huge ball, with guests who arrived just after sunset. As people arrived, they found the gate was shut and it was getting too dark out to see. Alva gave her servants a signal, and suddenly, the entire house was illuminated as the gate swung open. For the first time, the house was now visible to the public. The Beaux-Arts-style mansion was clad in marble, with solid marble columns and pilasters, set in neat intervals below a corresponding balustrade concealing the 3rd floor. Passing between the massive columns, you would enter the home through wrought iron doors, arriving in the grand hall. A giant plaster medallion was set in the ceiling, hovering over the marble floors and walls. From here, you could circulate about the interior of the home, with a long gallery connecting the wings from one end to the other, and a grand staircase set to the side. The marble stairs floated upwards, wrapped with gilded banisters. Rounded windows punctured the stone walls below an elaborate frieze wrapping towards a celestial mural. At the top, columns surrounded the landing, with tapestries hung on the walls behind them. By 1895, Alva had already divorced William and remarried, but she returned to the Marble House to host her daughter's coming-out party in the ballroom, which sat opposite from the stairs. She had a large fountain constructed in the center of the room and released 300 live hummingbirds to flutter above the heads of her guests. From here, we can travel to the dining room in the back of the house. Rose-colored marble was used to decorate the walls, composing the pilasters and window surrounds with gilded capitals upon which rested the frieze. The ceiling played host to an elaborate display of craftsmanship surrounding a central mural. To give you an idea of the scale of this room, the dining room table stretched 34 feet long. The New York Times reported, "The grand portico was a blaze of light, and dozens of liveried attendants were on hand to assist and escort the guests from carriage to cloakroom, and finally, to the tables with their gold-plated cutlery." Cutting across the gallery at the back of the entrance hall, we will arrive in the Gothic library. A large stone fireplace stretched from floor to ceiling, with relief work depicting people transforming into spires as the design directed the eye up towards the elaborate ceiling, with twisting coffers carved from stone appearing nearly organic in appearance soaring above stained glass windows, which flooded the room with spotted colors. Upstairs, Alva's bedroom was decorated with busy patterns competing with floral motifs run in the plasterwork and millwork. As time went on, she spent less and less time living here because she had moved to Belcourt to be with her new husband. However, she would still use the house primarily as a closet to store her clothes. She was known to wear up to 6 different outfits per day and kept her staff busy washing her clothes full-time in this house. As Alva grew older, she became more interested in politics, choosing to spearhead the women's suffrage movement. In 1908, she moved back to the Marble House and opened it to the public to raise money for her cause. She charged $5 per ticket, or the modern-day equivalent of about $160 to view the interior of her home, making sure to keep the price point high enough to not receive commoners. She hosted several fundraising events in the following years, but perhaps none were more spectacular than the Chinese ball she hosted in 1914. She hired Richard Morris Hunt's sons, Richard and Joseph, to design a Chinese tea house at the edge of her property's cliffs. The Hunts drew from 12th century Sung Dynasty era architecture for inspiration to create an amalgamation of Asian architecture, featuring a Shinto gate guarded by stone dogs leading towards a rectangular pagoda, with octagonal windows offering glimpses towards the sea. Though Alva loved her marble house, She chose to live out the rest of her life in her other mansion, Beacon Towers, and then in France with her daughter Consuelo. As the Great Depression raged on, she sold the house in 1932 for just $1, and all the contents of the home for $99,999, properly avoiding taxes. The Prince family moved in and enjoyed it as a family home, participating in sports such as tennis and polo. When Mr. Prince died, he willed the home to his son Frederick, who opened the home for the first time to the public so that the Preservation Society of Newport County could host the Tiffany Ball, an early preservation fundraiser for protecting Newport's architecture. This event attracted famous figures such as JFK and Gladys Vanderbilt. A few years later, Frederick passed away and Alva's son Harold Vanderbilt purchased the Marble House. He collaborated with the Prince family to donate not only the house, but all of its furnishings to the Preservation Society of Newport County. Since 1964, it has been open to the public for tours and has served as the backdrop for several movies, including the 1974 Great Gatsby, the 1994 True Lies, and more recently, it was used as a backdrop for the filming of HBO's hit show, The Gilded Age. Thankfully, this house, unlike so many others that we've seen, has been saved. Which room was your favorite? And if you've ever visited, I would love to hear about your experience down in the comments section below. And while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House. I would also like to take a moment to say a special thank you to our This House supporters whose names you can see on screen right now. If you would like to see your name on the screen, please consider joining our membership program today. I'll see you next time on This House.